Now, before 5 minutes, really I started with to teach or to study tenses in English, but really with just paper and pen. This is old method in teaching or studying. Today we will talk about English tenses in more creative and more modern methods in teaching or training. So today we will start to talk about past simple. Sometimes, or some students call past simple, simple past. Both are correct. Okay, now we will start. As you see, this is timeline. Now we have past, now, and future. Most of us focus here on now. So before now is past and after now is future. So we have three basic tenses in English. Present. Now that means present. Present, past, and the future. Each one of these tenses have some, let's say, some tenses or some parts. For example, we have here present simple, present continuous, present perfect, also about past, also about future. Now, as this timeline, simple past here is a simple past in general. Now, today we will focus on something like the form of past simple and the use of past simple and the most important things or problems or issues related to past simple. How can I treat with it? What is the most important problems for learners or for trainers when we talk about simple past? The most important thing today, which is when can I use simple past? Or why is simple past is important for us as people, for learner? What is the important thing in simple past? Okay, simple past talk about actions, verbs that happened in the past. That means it started and ended in a specific time in the past. So here, when we draw on the timeline, for example, here, started and ended. Please underline on these important things. Started and ended in the past. So, about the past, we have past, for example, before 5 years, before 100 years, past. Yesterday, past. Before 5 minutes, as I introduced our lecture today, or our video today, so just before 5 minutes also is past. So the past we have just before now. Anything before now, it is past. Now, simple past focus on actions, verbs that started and ended in the past at a specific time in the past. For example, in 2019, many students traveled from Jordan to USA. For example, yesterday I ate some sandwiches. Last week, I visited my grandparents. So something like this. Any events, actions happened in the past, we use yes. I went to my grandparents. For example, last week, this action happened, started, and ended in the last week. So today I am here, already I'm here. So just at this point, I use simple. Yes, okay, so as I said, these two examples in general about simple past. She studied hard yesterday. Ali ate a sandwich. Now, here we have two we have two types of the verbs in English language. We have regular and irregular. Regular verbs, that means, now each verbs in English language has three status or three forms: verb 1, verb 2, verb 3. Sometimes we call it as present, past, and past participle. The most verbs in English language are irregular verbs. Regular verbs, that means when we change these verbs from present to past and past participle, from verb 1 to verb 2 and verb 3, we must add ed at the end of the verb. We must ed at the end of the verb. For example, study in general now, without changing the verb, which is end with y. So here, study. Okay, so study, studied, start, started, walk, walked, talk, talked, something like this. And the next or the second group of verbs in English, which are irregular verbs. Irregular verbs, the form of the verb change completely. Sometimes change completely, sometimes don't change completely from verb 1 to verb 2 and 3. For example, ate is the verb 2 from eat. For example, run, verb 2, verb 2, verb 2, went, and verb 3, gone. So something like this. In general, we have regular verbs, irregular verbs. How can I say this is regular or irregular? Irregular, that means when we change the verb from verb 1 to verb 2 and 3, we must ed at the end of the verb. Yes, okay, so when we can use simple past. Okay, as I told you about the general idea of simple past, we use it about past as events or actions that started and ended in a specific time in the past. So this is the general idea. But when can we use simple past? Details, situations, or something like these situations, the most important situations when we talk about simple past. So we can use it with time expression and without time expression. For example, Brian called last week. Without time expression, she cooked at dinner. We can use simple past and recent past. For example, I went to Petra yesterday. And with this tense, past, she lived in USA a long time ago. With one action, for example, the children wrote a lesson, or students wrote a lesson. And many actions, the children played football, washed their hands, and ate a sandwich. The form of simple past. How can I form past simple tense or past simple sentence? Now, as I told you before that, each language, each tenses in English language also, we have three forms for our speech: affirmative, negative, and the questions. So any sentence I told you, one of these parts, affirmative or negative or questions. Let's start with affirmative. Subject, then verb 2, and this is also another reason for why English language is so easy. Whatever the subject, singular or plural, and whatever pronouns of subject, I, we, they, you, he, she, it, singular, for example, teacher, or plural, teachers, we must put the verb to of the verb, the simple past of the verb. So we say, I worked, we worked, they worked, you worked, he worked, she worked, and it worked. This is as regular verb. The same thing about irregular verb. Wrote here is the verb to of write. So this is irregular verb. So we say, I wrote, we wrote, they wrote, you wrote, he wrote, she wrote, and it wrote. Maybe here, cat wrote. Okay, so this is about affirmative, subject, and verb too. About negative, subject, here, what happened? Now, guys, before anything, I forget you share this, I forget I share this important information with you about what's the meaning of simple. Why can we use this word simple with this tense? Now we use simple because this tense in affirmative we didn't use auxiliary verbs. Something like as, was, were, has, have, all these we didn't use it. So okay, how can I make a negative sentence for this tense? How can I use it? This sentence, already this sentence without auxiliary verb. Yes, here we have verb to do. Verb to do that must strong auxiliary verbs. We change one of these verbs, we want to do, does, and did. Yes, in the past, we change did. Did plus not. So this is did plus not. Informal writing, with formal writing, or something like this is the basic did plus not. But when we make conversations quickly, we say didn't. Okay, so what happened? As I told you, verb to do is strong auxiliary verbs. So the verb after it is infinitive, not the verb to the verb. So subject, didn't, and verb infinitive. For example, here we say Ellie went to London. Yes, the third thing, or the third forms of past simple, which is questions. Okay, here in affirmative or in a general sentence, we have subject and verb to the verb to of the verb. Okay, so here, what can we do in questions in general? Now, in questions, always we must exchange between auxiliary verb and the subject. Between auxiliary verb and the subject. So all the questions here must start with auxiliary verbs. Here we need did, because did from verb to do and in the past. So did, subject, and verb infinitive or base form of the verb. Here is an important note, which is we must start with D is capital. So we must start with capital letter and end with this question mark. Yes, it's not problem when we use one of the WH questions words. So did, subject, verb, infinitive. For example, here, about the same sentence, did Ellie, because name of people, so also must start with capital, as you know. Did Ellie, here the verb infinitive, also the verb infinitive. When I see did not, do, don't, does, and doesn't, we must use the verb as infinitive. Yes, okay, so here, did Ali, here the verb infinitive. So we want to come back here, go. Did Ellie go to London? drank orange juice. Yeah? And what about negative? Also, we will choose subject plus what? Subject plus here, verb to do, which is didn't, and what? And where? Verb to or verb infinitive? No, verb infinitive. Here. So here we will put verb and infinitive form. So she didn't drink, the base form of drink. She didn't drink juice. She didn't travel to America. She didn't study English. Something like this. Okay, the third form, which is questions. As we told, we will start with did. So did plus subject plus verb infinitive also, because when we say did or didn't, the verb must be infinitive. For example, did she travel to America? Did he drink orange juice? Did you study English language? Something like this. Okay? We have consonants and vowels. Most English language letters are consonants, and there are some of letters we are called it as vowels. Each language have vowels. In English language, vowels are I, A, O, E, and U. Okay, but what is this? What's this issue related to simple past? Okay, now we have some verbs, some irregular verbs, something like study and play. Okay, so what is it? Okay, these verbs are irregular. Irregular, that means when we put these verbs in past simple tense, we must add ed, as we told at the beginning of this video. Okay, if the verb ends with y and before y come consonants, this is D, R, N, N. All of these are consonants because it's not in the group of vowels. So this is consonant. Okay, what about it? So this is, if the verb ends with y and become consonant before y, we put ed, something like this. Studied. So something like delete y, delete y, and put I, then ed. Okay? So delete y and put I instead of y, then put ed at the end of the verb. Okay, what about the verb? If the verb ends with y and become vowel before the y, how can we verb to from this verb? Okay, if the verb ends with y and became a before that, just ed at the end of the verb. So play, played. Just if it's come vowel before y. Okay, now here we have these, and we will choose from these verbs. All of these verbs end with y, some of them before y come consonants, and some of them come vowels. Before Y, it's E. E is vowel. So this is as verb to bite, because this is vowel before Y. Okay? And what's the next? Here, enjoy. Okay, so what about enjoy? Also enjoy ends with Y, and become Y there is O. O also is vowel. So enjoy here. These also, from these verbs we have, this is cry. Cry here, this verb end with Y, and there is R before Y. R is consonant. It's not from this group as vowels, so it's consonant. Okay? So what is the verb to of cry as regular verb? Cried. So Y, we delete it and put I, then ED. Okay guys, now at the end of this video, thank you for your attendance and watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. See you next time.